Then certification requirement. Now when this annual return is certified, under the existing act we are saying only for a company whose shares are listed on a recognized stock exchange. The certification by a practicing member was required only in respect of a listed company. Under the new act, a listed company or a company having paid up share capital of 5 crore rupees or more and turnover of 25 crore rupees or more. So this is an additional thing, burden on these companies whose paid up capital and turnover exceeds these limits.
This can be any type of company.
This can be any type of company. The nature of certification. Then also there is a small thing that the annual return discloses the facts correctly and adequately, and that the company has complied with all the provisions of this act. Now when certificate is done, one has to be ensured that all these things have been complied with. And the existing thing, we only used to certify that the return states the facts as they stood on the day of the annual general meeting, that since the date of the last annual return, the transfer of all shares and debentures have been this was a limited certificate which was given. Now it is all encompassing and stating that it discloses the facts correctly and adequately, and that now the word adequately is also maybe a subject matter of interpretation, and that the company has complied with all the provisions of this act. Now, this is another thing which comes under administration of place of keeping registers and returns. Under the 2013 Act, registered members, debenture holders and other security holders are copies of return to be kept at any other place in India in which more than 1/10 of members reside. Now this is a new dispensation which has come. Under the existing provision, we have seen many of the companies which are having registered office in Bombay have shifted to far off places so that there is no much of disturbances from the mischief monger shareholders. So to avoid that was done. But now you cannot do it unless you transfer it to a place where more than 1/10 of members reside. So this condition has to be satisfied if you want to change your place of keeping registers and returns. The flexibility in the 56th Act is limited to a place within the city, town or village in which the registered office is situated. That comes to another point under administration is that of general meetings. That the first annual general meeting should be held within 9 months from the date of closing of the first financial year.
There are more than 110 shareholders who are non-resident.
More than 110 shareholders who are non-resident. But then 90% other members are there, na? How many non-resident shareholders are there?
10%. More than 10.
More than 10. So you cannot keep it in foreign place. You have to keep it in India. If you keep it in India where more than 10% is there, where more than 10% is there, you are allowed to keep it. You are allowed to keep it at the registered office. It is only a question of shifting. So this relaxation is given with regard to the first financial year, that the AGM should be held within 9 months. Normally the general rule is that AGM is held within 6 months from the close of the financial year, but in the case of first annual general meeting, a concession of 3 more months has been provided. Because the financial year is also being finalized now, that it will be 31st of March, so therefore this time is allowed. The first annual general meeting under the old act, it was allowed to be 18 months. Holding of statutory meeting no longer required. This is under the existing provision that a public company which wants to start its business, it has to hold its statutory meeting within a period of 6 months. Now that statutory meeting requirement is no longer needed. Now business time, the business hours have also been defined under the Act between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. So you cannot hold your general meetings beyond this time. So if you want to convene a board meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning, it will not be allowed, or any time after 6 p.m. So business hours have been defined.
So meeting started at 5:30 p.m. can continue beyond 6 p.m.
Of course,
That
of
is
course.
actually.
It is only for general meeting, no?
Yes, general. Board meeting you can have at midnight also.
On public holiday also and abroad also.
Yeah, yeah.
Public holiday and abroad both.
So, what if every company gives the same time? It is contravening the provision, right?
Every company,
If there are 3 to 4 group companies, they give the same tax and they don't give it. They are private companies.
the shareholders,
They
we are
give the
talking
same
of a
time
group.
of,
We are talking of a group company, we are facing complaints from shareholders who are saying that all the companies are keeping their meetings at the same day, so we cannot attend all the meetings. Say, there is no bar in that. There is no bar in that. But only that in the general public listed companies, the investor friendly concept says that you should have it in a manner so that people have. But one company does not know when the other company is going to fix its meeting, so there cannot be any complaint as such.
these are like the directors are saying same, and moreover the shareholders are saying they give the same time. So, are they contravening?
I say in such a case what companies are doing, one meeting at 9 o'clock, another 10 o'clock, another 11 o'clock, if the same director members are there, they are arranging it that way. So you have enough time between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. to organize all these group meetings. You have 9 hours.
Sir, this annual return, sir,
Yeah.
annual return we have to give information till up to the date of last date of financial year. Right?
Yeah.
Now for this year, we have to give from the last AGM to financial year or for the full financial year.
Say, depends when the act is notified.
Achha, so what?
If the act is notified, there may be a situation where you will be required to give for the full year, even though it may be a repetition, because some things you must have reported in the last annual return.
Yes.
So they cannot be comparative. As like when you change your financial year, then you say that the figures of the previous year are not comparable for this reason. So therefore, in this case also, you will have to comply with the financial year requirement that you have to start with 1st April to 31st March, irrespective of the fact that in between you have also given details in the last annual return.
So within how many days we have to file this annual return?
Annual return is required to be filed after the annual general meeting. That is about 60 days. 60 days.
So that the old
That
provision
old
continues.
provision.
But then,
Filing is old.
but the information will relate to the year end, financial year end.
See, what has happened in the case of an annual return,
Yeah.
extract of annual return is required to be reported in the board report.
Yeah.
So therefore, unless you have prepared your annual return as of the close of the financial year, you cannot disclose it in your board report. So therefore, the financial year has been made it accordingly. Otherwise, they could have continued that the annual return will be as of the AGM date. But then they found this difficulty. Okay, how if the annual general meeting is to be held on 30th September and my board report is dated 5th of May, how can I incorporate details of annual return? To overcome that difficulty, now they have said the annual return will be as per financial year. Annual general meeting cannot be held on a national holiday, whereas the annual general meeting cannot be held on a public holiday. The old provision was it cannot be held on a public holiday. Now it has been restricted that it cannot be held on a national holiday. Public holidays are defined by the state act. The national holidays are defined by the central act, and there are only 4 or 5 national holidays. So on those holidays you cannot hold your vigil.
means you can hold in public holiday.
Of course. If it does not coincide with the national holiday.
Yeah.
Even Sundays can be.
Sunday is possible, yes.
Sunday also you
Yes.
can have.
But it defines the business hours, 9 to 6.
96, yes.
So then
So how you can hold it on Sunday?
No business hours.
Even you cannot hold it on a Saturday if according to you the business works only on Monday to Saturday, Friday.
But suppose if I am working in the Sunday on also, Sunday is not having holiday, then
Some factory, some
Yes.
registered office having factory.
correct.
Same
Many,
thing.
many. Yeah.
Many, yeah.
Many are
And sometimes they are holiday on Friday or Wednesday.
What is the place of holding, sir? Can it be held abroad?
General meeting, no. Board meeting, yes.
AGM or all general?
AGM.
AGM. But general meeting otherwise can be held abroad.
General meeting you can hold it any other place. Extraordinary general meeting. But again then there are a lot of new things which are coming, e-voting and this and that, so many things are there. So wherever you hold it, the problems will be there. Now if you want to hold an annual general meeting by a shorter notice, under the old act 95% consent was required, which was normally not possible in a public company unless the number of shareholders is 7 or 10. And in a private company it can be done. But under the public company where the number of members is large, there it cannot be done and now requires 100% consent. This is like the explanatory statement which we give, a statement setting out material facts concerning each item of special business to be transacted at a general meeting shall be annexed to the notice. The term annexed show the statement is not part of agenda but annexed to the notice. Now what are the disclosures are required? These are given here. Following information shall be material information for each special business item. The nature of concern or interest, financial or otherwise, if any, in respect of each item, every director and manager, if any, every other key managerial personnel. Now, you have to disclose the interest of the company secretary and chief financial officer also. And relatives of every director, manager and key managerial personnel. So, what is their interest? That also you have to disclose. Any other information and facts that may enable members to understand the meaning, scope and implication of the items of business and to take decisions thereon. Where any item of special business is related to or affecting any other company, where any director or key managerial personnel has shareholding interest of not less than 2% of paid up share capital, this shareholding interest shall also be disclosed in the statement. Where any item of business refers to any document, the time and place where the document can be inspected shall be specified. Normally it is kept at the registered office or the corporate headquarters of the company. Now the quorum requirement has also been changed. Earlier, for all companies, public companies, irrespective of the number of members, it was kept at 5. Now that has been changed, and now you can have 5 members quorum if number of members is not more than 1,000. So if 1,000 is the limit of your members, you can have a quorum of 5 members. 15 members if you have more than 1,000 but less than 5,000. And 30 members if number of members is more than 5,000. So now there is a 3 category: 5 members, 15 members, 30 members. So up to 1,005 members.
What about private limited company?
Private limited, you see there are now member of members is 200 only. So there is no requirement because private limited will be covered by 2 members.
That's all.
Yeah.
What about proxy?
Proxy will not be counted as a member. The purpose is a forum. Proxy will not be counted.
Is there any change there? There is no change there.
There is no. In fact, there is a loophole in respect to proxy that there is no way to identify that the person who is coming to attend the meeting is the person who has been appointed. So that is the existing difficulty also. Then we take up this one person company and a small company. Now in this slide you will see that there is one person and then 5 is small. What it indicates that if no person shall be eligible to incorporate more than 5 one-person company. So a person can be allowed to incorporate 5 one-person company. And there is another thing, if the paid up capital of one-person company exceeds rupees 50 lakhs, our average annual turnover of last 3 years exceeds rupees 2 crore, one-person company shall cease to lose its status and shall convert into either a private limited company or a public limited company within 6 months. So this is the limits within which a small company can function. So paid up capital not exceed 50 lakhs, turnover, average annual turnover does not exceed 2 crore. On that basis, this company can remain in the category of a small company. If it triggers the limit, then it will have to convert either into a private company or a public company.
That means they cannot grow, sir.
Pardon?
That means one company cannot grow future point of view.
It will grow, no? But it will get converted.
It will be converted into
Private limited. Yeah.
Because it is growing, it is changing.
So,
But not LLP.
huh?
But not LLP.
Not
You
LLP.
cannot convert to LLP.
No.
This conversion that he is speaking of, you see, there is a cap on number of 1% company.
How many?
There is a cap on maximum number of 1% company I can have, right? This year I have 3 and I am doing the same business with 3 different names. And if one of my company exceeds that criteria, the other 2 shall stay as 1% or they also have to.
You have a genius thinking because there are many people who are thinking to create these separate entities to avoid on tax and other matters. Some limitations are there on service tax and GST. They are thinking, okay, if we divide this business into different entities, it might help us to save on tax. So that may be possible, but where the limit is exceeded, there you have to get converted into private or a public company. See, what happens, the rules are framed by provisions of Act and rules are framed by 100, 200, 500 people. We have a population of more than 100 crore. So the thoughts which is put in are much greater than we can, and that's why our country is called a Jugadu company.
And those are more intelligent.
Yes, those who have to implement are more intelligent.
The
Because-
answers are always ready before the question is
Eh?
The answer is ready before the question is made.
I know, because we read hair splitting the words and then we find out what is the way out.
There is always a bypass on the rule.
That is our problem. No? We don't want to abide by the rule of law, but we want to see how the way out is out of this. And, we go to the manager, they say, okay, रास्ता बताओ क्या है? ये नहीं हो सकता तो क्या करने का? One managing director said, I want only one hand company secretary. I said, why you want only a person who is having only one hand? He said, no, I had another company secretary who has 2 hands. So he always used to threaten me, if you do this, this will happen. If you do that, do not do this, this will happen. So I don't want to preserve it to end.
So only natural people can become one-person company or artificial person also?
Under the existing law, only the individuals are allowed. Though in the advanced countries, even a corporate can incorporate a one person. But here we are not allowed. We are just experimenting with the individuals. One person is as its member. Now, what the thing is that in the case of a one-person company, the issue is of two: actual limited liability and perpetuity in the law. So therefore, how that is to be maintained? There is only one member. So at the time of incorporating a one-person company, he has also indicate the name of the other person. In the event of the subscriber's death, become the member. So that continuity is maintained. The concept of perpetual succession is continued. So for that reason, they has to indicate another person's name who will take over the business in the event of a death. The written consent of such person shall be filed. First director is appointed by article. Where the first director is not appointed, the member becomes the director.
So suppose both
What if
died
both are
simultaneously, then what happens?
Allah जाने क्या होगा आगे. You should only pray both of them should not die at the same place. Just like another issue which has come. My children are young, they are minor, so they cannot be the member who can be indicated in the succession. So there is a fear, if I name another third person, and in the event of my death, how my children will get it. Because there is now one absurd judgment of Bombay High Court, where they say nominee is the absolute owner. This is the judgment as to. Because we were all the time having a view that the nominee holder is holding for the sake of convenience and he has to give it to the beneficial owner. But now by this judgment, and it has not been challenged yet.
So that is because of the provisions in the Companies Act.
I know, yeah.
Whereas in real estate and all that society
Yeah,
it's a
correct.
different.
The conditions laid down with regard to OPC, in the Act there are two conditions, pay of capital and turnover. But in the rules they have brought in another condition also, whereas when the rules are notified, we have objected to it, it might be cancelled. That the third condition is balance sheet total exceeds 1 crore rupees. Now this was not the condition in the Act itself. That balance sheet, last one, balance sheet exceeds 1 crore rupees. This is the third criteria which they have introduced, particularly the one person company. So this may be deleted. This is one issue open.